This is a total recap of Yellowstone Season 5A, the first half of the 5th season, giving you everything you need to know before watching the second half. Season 5 gives us a flashback to years prior to the events of this series. We see Rip get into a fight with a guy who insulted Beth. The guy pulled a knife and Rip hit him in the head with a rock and accidentally killed him. Rip goes to John about what happened and John decides to help Rip cover it up. But in exchange, Rip must dedicate his life to the Dutton Ranch and to John Dutton.
There's a thing I could do, but if I do it, you don't ever leave this place.
Fast forward to present day and we see John being sworn in as governor.
The fact that you voted for a man who does not want this job to lead this state means we share the same goals.
CEO of Market Equities, Caroline Warner, is displeased with John's victory because it means her company's airport and resort are doomed. And it's important to remember that now Governor Dutton, of course, only ran for office to save his land.
The ugly truth is they want the land. It will never look like our land again.
Monica, who is pregnant, appears to be going into labor despite not being due for another 3 weeks. On her way to the hospital, she crashes her car and loses the baby. John appoints his daughter, Beth, to be his chief of staff.
Jim, I'd like to introduce you to my daughter, Beth. She's my new chief of staff.
Back on the ranch, a dead cow is found and Rip suspects that wolves are responsible. They track down a pack of wolves feeding on a cow and they shoot them. They then discover that the wolves are actually from Yellowstone Park, meaning it's illegal to kill them. Rip and his hands gather the wolves' collars and they throw them in the river to make it look like the pack is moving together downstream. Meanwhile, Jamie, John's adoptive son, who ran against him for governor and serves as the current attorney general, he delivers John's executive order revoking the rights to build the airport, and he warns John that this will be a declaration of war.
As the state's attorney, I must inform you that by signing this order, you are signing a declaration of war.
Jamie arrives back at his office where he is served by Market Equities attorney Sarah Atwood. We learn that they are suing for John's revoking of their planned constructions in Montana. Beth then pulls a brilliant legal move by releasing her controlling shares of Schwartz and Meyer Bank to Market Equities' rival, making it to where she can further prevent Market Equities from building on the Dutton land. Beth, Rip, Carter, and the other ranchers go to a bar to celebrate. There, we see this woman start flirting with Rip, and Beth ain't having it. Beth is then charged with assault. Now, Jamie helps Beth by convincing the woman that she attacked to reconsider filing a complaint.
You presented the threat. So if you press charges, the state must press charges against you.
Beth is now free to go, but Jamie still charges her with disorderly conduct. Now, when Jamie goes to pick up Beth, she discovers that he has a son.
Do you have a child, Jamie?
A boy.
When Beth was a teenager, she got pregnant with Rip's child, and she went to Jamie for help getting an abortion. Jamie took her to a clinic, and the lady at the clinic told him that he needed to take her to a Planned Parenthood because this local clinic has a sterilization requirement for abortions. Jamie doesn't want to take her to another clinic because word would get out that a Dutton child was getting an abortion, and that could bring shame to the family. Jamie thinks he's doing the right thing and honoring his father and their family name by going through with the abortion at this specific clinic, even though it means that Beth will never be able to have children. Jamie hides the fact from Beth that she'll be sterilized, and Beth has held that against him to this day. Later, John commutes the sentence of this activist named Summer so that in turn she can help him with the upcoming legal battle involving the death of Yellowstone wolves. Jamie takes Sarah Atwood up on her offer for dinner and he meets her at a bar, and the two end up hooking up in her hotel bathroom. Beth is nearby and gets a hold of Sarah's license, which she discovers is fake.
Yeah, not her real name. What a surprise.
John decides to take a new approach to his governorship and clears his schedule for 2 weeks to go tend to the needs of his ranch. Summer joins the Duttons for dinner and she criticizes their non-vegan meal. Beth and Summer then step outside to settle their feud with Rip's suggestion of a punch-for-punch duel.
Beside that, we'll have roast duck.
Are you aware that ducks mate for life? At least something at this table does.
While John and the others are away gathering cattle, we see a military caravan arrive to prepare for the arrival of the President of the United States.
Chairman, I think the president's coming here.
The president of what?
The United States.
Sarah and Jamie continue to have sexual encounters, and she convinces Jamie to help her and her company by grandfathering in their right to build on the Duttons' land. Jamie's plans are thwarted when he learns that the Dutton Ranch has been classified as a national park, protecting it now from Market Equities or any other private business interests from ever building on the Dutton land.
Your father put his ranch in the land trust. He
You put the land in a conservation easement, Jamie.
Jamie is furious that he was kept out of the loop on this move. Jamie then agrees to join efforts to have John removed as governor, and Sarah assures Jamie that market equities will throw their support behind Jamie to take his place as governor. Elsewhere, during the cattle herding, an old cowboy friend of John's passes away in his sleep. John then goes to console this man's wife, and this moment is captured on news cameras.
Some might question the governor's priorities, but not this news anchor. This news anchor believes our governor is right where he belongs.
Shortly thereafter, John discovers that part of his land has been contaminated with an illness.
That's the third one I've seen.
One what?
Stillborn buffalo calf.
John is then forced to temporarily move his cattle to Texas in order to save the herd. On top of that, John soon learns that Jamie has publicly called for his impeachment.
The Attorney General's office under Article 5 and Section 13 of the state constitution is requesting impeachment.
Beth confronts Jamie and threatens to reveal to the world the truth about what happened to his biological father.
There is a third option. Care to hear it?
Jamie is unbothered by this threat, reminding Beth that it's a Dutton tradition to bury bodies of those who get in the way, and exposing this truth would only spell doom for their family. Beth reaches a point where she begins to contemplate the idea of completely removing Jamie from the board. She thinks that they need to kill him. John is visibly disturbed by this suggestion and doesn't respond. Jamie has also reached a boiling point and anticipates that Beth's next move will be to kill him. So, Jamie also begins to consider taking actions to remove Beth from the board by hiring professional assassins.
They're professionals. It'll look like a heart attack or car accident.
Now, it's been confirmed that Kevin Costner's John Dutton is leaving the Yellowstone series and won't be returning for the second half of season 5. It's unclear how John's story will be wrapped up. Perhaps he'll remain with his cattle in Texas, maybe he'll be killed off, we'll just have to see. But we can safely assume that the main focus of the second half of season 5 will be the war between Beth and Jamie Dutton. And that was a total recap of Yellowstone season 5A, giving you everything you need to know before watching season 5B. I've been your host, Colton Ogburn, and I'll see you on the next Total Recap.
What about the guy you lobotomized? Did he get a refund? I have to hand it to you. It's the best mindfuck yet.